Hello again and welcome to another Mordian Glory Warhammer the Old World video. In today's episode, I come to you shocked, flabbergasted one might say, because Games Workshop, for the first time in years, has actually unveiled an amazing deal. This is not an exaggeration. This is not being overly hyped. There's no word of a lie here. Games Workshop has unveiled a new box set which allows you to get a full 2,000 point Warhammer army in one go and only costs about £100. And so, without further ado, let's not mess around here because this is a big deal. Let's take a look at what might be the best value box GW has ever released. Let's take a look at the new Warriors of Chaos. Attention, Gazman. My ever salty partner in crime, Admiral Simon, has got an important announcement for you.
This September and October, I am doing a charity walk along the Inca Trail to Machu Picchu. We'll be raising money for two fantastic charities, our local hospice, Halton Haven, and also the Pink Ribbon Foundation that raises funds to combat breast cancer. As I hate camping, walking, and will be shitting in a bucket for 4 days, I will be particularly salty and would value any support you can give us. Please click the link below for our Just Giving page. Thank you very much.
You heard the man, it's for a good cause, and you all know Simon from the battle reports. That's all for now. Move out, conscripts. So for those of you that don't keep up with the old world, maybe you saw the initial release but haven't really kept tabs on it since then, the game has been quietly going from strength to strength. And one of the things that has really set it apart from games like Warhammer 40k is what a surprisingly good deal it is. Over in 40k, you might buy 10 Space Marines for about £40. But if you head over to the old world, you can buy boxes of main infantry which contain 20, 30 or 40 infantry for about the same price point. And what's really cool is even after the initial release, when Games Workshop said, here's the Bretonnian box, and that was a really good deal, and here's the Tomb King box, and that's a pretty good deal, they've continued releasing army boxes which actually are great value for money. What Games Workshop often does is they will release a big box set to get you into the game, but then after that, the price starts adding up. So, for example, with Warhammer 40k, in 10th edition, they released the Leviathan box set, which was genuinely an amazing, amazing deal. Got so many people into Space Marines, got so many people into Tyranids. People were buying boxes, splitting them. And to this day, you can still go on eBay and you can still go on like Facebook Marketplace and stuff like that. You can still go to alternative sellers and they will have very, very good prices for Leviathan models. But after the initial release of 10th edition, we ended up getting boxes like the Combat Patrols, which contained fewer models than the old Start Collecting sets, but were an increased price. And a lot of the deals seemed to go away after the initial hype. GW sucked people in and then started milking them. And that's not necessarily a bad practice, that's just GW being a business. Fair play to them. This is not a GW bashing video in any way, shape or form. But what has separated Old World from 40k is that the good box sets came out to initially suck people into the game, and then the good box sets have just continued to come out. After the game was launched with the Tomb Kings and Bretonnia boxes, the next faction to get a big box set was the Orc and Goblin tribes. This box set was significantly cheaper than the starter sets because it didn't contain the rulebooks, which was cool. And even though it wasn't particularly points dense, Orcs and Goblins do tend to be a bit more of a horde army, players still saved about 50 quid. They saved about 33% on buying all of the units separately, with essentially you paying for the Orcs and Goblins and getting the chariots for free. Likewise, with the Dwarven Mountain Holds, who emerged fourth, they were in a similar state to the Orcs and Goblins. You got a pretty points-dense box, with Dwarves being a little bit more pricey than the Orcs and Goblins. And again, you essentially got 33% off, with you getting all of the Warriors for the normal price, and then the Gyrocopters essentially being thrown in for free. Both of these armies were able to get 1,000 or 1,250 points out of them, which is the starter level for old world games. Most people tend to say that you want to get your army up to about 1,250 points to start getting a proper feel for the game, and then you build up to 2,000 points after that to start playing the game at the full level. But hot off the heels of the Dwarf release came the 5th faction, the Warriors of Chaos, with their brand spanking new battalion box. On the surface, this box has followed the emerging formula for these battalions. You get 3 boxes of models and essentially you're only paying for 2 of them. In this case, you are getting 32 Warriors of Chaos, which is 1 box. You are getting 10 Knights of Chaos, which is the other box, and then you are getting the Chariots of Chaos thrown in for free as the 3rd box. Although, quick side note, it does look like this is the chariot from Age of Sigmar, which is actually £28 per chariot, and so for 2 of them you'll be looking at £56. So this is even slightly a better deal than what you would normally get in these box sets. But going back to the main topic at hand, the reason why I'm making such a big deal out of this box is because of how points dense Warriors of Chaos are. It's a bit like Custodes in Warhammer 40k. Custodes are one of those few armies where if you get 3 combat patrols, you can actually get yourself up to a 2,000 point army. And Custodes is seen as a really, really good deal and a very affordable way of getting into 40k in comparison to some armies like Guard or Adeptus Mechanicus or Orcs or Tyranids, which are swarm armies that tend to have to pay a lot of money to get to that 2,000 point level. Now, Custodes at the moment are probably considered like the benchmark for a good deal of getting into a Warhammer game, and not like a gang game, like a small level game like Necromunda or something, which can be relatively easy. Get yourself a couple of boxes, you're right in there. But for a larger, more skirmish battle type game, Custodes, I would say, up until this point, held the crown for being the most cost-effective army, because for a mere £300, you could get yourself a 2,000 point army. But Warriors of Chaos have completely and utterly smashed that. Because this battalion box that you see before you right now, with 32 Warriors of Chaos, 10 Knights, and 2 Chariots, can very easily be built into a full-blown 2,000 point Warriors of Chaos army. And if you don't believe me, well, I've thrown together a cheeky list that does just that. Starting off with the core, I've taken the 32 Chaos Warriors and I've turned them into 2 16-man units, giving them halberds, heavy armor, shields, thrown on a mark of Chaos onto each unit. Doesn't really matter which mark you go for, they all cost the same amount. And we've also gone for full command, and we've gone for a couple of magical standards in there as well. Now, some people might be saying straight away, Mordian, you're not padding out the units with those marks and with those magical standards. Not at all. One of the great things about Chaos is because your units are actually competent and actually good, it's worthwhile investing in them. It's not like Empire State Troops, where if I end up loading them up with every upgrade that I can give them, they're still going to die like shit because they're Empire State Troops. No. Chaos Warriors are good, so it's okay giving them a good magical banner because they're actually going to get use out of it. So I went for like a Razor standard, which gives you guys extra AP, and I went for a War banner, which gives the other unit an extra pip of combat res. Never a bad thing to have. And 2 magical standards, which I have personally seen used in bricks of Chaos Warriors in both friendly and competitive games multiple times. So I'm not just picking out the most expensive banners I can find. I'm doing this fair and equals pequals and trying to pick out things that you'd actually take. Moving on to the Knights, I went for a big unit of 10 chosen Chaos Knights, and I went for lances, shields, and full plate armor because they've only got 1 wound each. They better have a 2+ save, right? And I went for a mark of Chaos as well. Again, it doesn't really matter which one you go for because it costs the same points, whichever one. You could go for Khorne. I went for Nurgle in this case, trying to make him as tough as all hell. And then I went for Drilled because drilled is one of the best special rules in Old World right now. Again, that's a legit upgrade, no stat padding here whatsoever. And then I went for the rampaging banner and full command. Now full command of course is great just generally to have on all your units, and the rampaging banner lets you reroll charges, something you definitely want on a massively powerful unit like Chaos Knights. You don't want them going out there and failing the charge and then getting screwed over from it. So the rampaging banner is again a standard that I have seen taken and one that actually has use. Now adding all of this up, these 3 units right here are about 1,100 points. Really good already, and they're all point dense, they're all large enough so they're not just going to get rolled over, and they all have a lot of punch and power behind them. As someone who plays Old World, if I came across any of these units, I wouldn't see a unit that was like, oh, massively overinflated with cost. I'd see 3 units as an Empire player, I'd be like, I can't beat any of those in combat. If I don't shoot them down, they're going to just walk over me. So these are good units. These are not overinflated ones. We then have about 850 points left over, and this is where we get to the chariots. Now what I did is I made both chariots a mount for characters, because you can absolutely do that. So I went for a level 4 Sorcerer Lord and went for the Mark of Tzeentch because I figured that's kind of cool to have on a sorcerer, you know, all the magic-y stuff. And I put that on a chariot. Now, sorcerers on chariots are an okay choice because they get the 360-degree sight for their spells from being on a chariot. I then went for a Chaos Lord on chariot, but you absolutely could go for double Sorcerer Lord here. Now both of these characters come to about 350 points, and so we have about 150, 200 points left over in the list. Those points have purposefully been left to one side because I don't play Chaos, but I do know that you definitely want to be spending at least 100 points on each character for magical items and for Chaos mutations and other bits and bobs that I wouldn't be aware of. So those 200 points there, that's not me failing to reach my goal. Just want to make this absolutely clear, make sure people don't think I'm bullshitting them. Those 200 points have been left to one side purposefully because there are going to be magical items that people will invest in. And the crazy thing is, this isn't a bad list. You've got a couple of blocks of infantry, but you've got a lot of fast moving units as well. There's a lot of durability in there, but there's a lot of punch in there. Is this an army that's going to let you walk into a major Old taunt and sweep the hall? Of course not. We're building it based off one box. But is this an army that will allow you to start learning the game, get a feel for Old World, and after a few practice games against your mates, allow you to win some games? Absolutely. I can tell you right now, as someone who's been to 3 or 4 friendly local RTTs of Old World, if I bought that box set and built that rough list, I could go to any of those RTTs that I've been to and I would have come away with at least 1 win from each one. Maybe even a couple of cheeky wins, depending on how the dice rolled. That's what I'm talking about. It's a perfectly competent army. It's a perfectly competent list based entirely off one box set that isn't going to be a waste of time, that isn't overinflated, that isn't stat padded, and will actually allow you to win games. And this is genuinely insane. Because let's just zoom out here for a moment and put this into perspective. For the first time that I can ever remember, Games Workshop has released a box set which allows you to get a full, viable army in one place. An army that is good enough for you to win some games with and learn the game with. If you buy it directly from them, it's £110. But why would you buy it directly from them? You can actually go to third-party retailers like Element Games, affiliate link down in the description below if you want to support the channel, and get this box for 20% off. That is £88. For significantly less than a 300-point combat patrol, if we're looking at Imperial Guard here, you can get an entire army and start playing a game and having fun with it. If you are one of those people which has always been Old World curious, but has been hesitant to get into the game because it's another Games Workshop game, right? It's another expensive hobby, and in this current economic climate, I can only really dedicate enough hobby funds to 40k. And as much as I want to play this game, I just can't get into another Games Workshop system. If that sounds like you, this is the box set for you. This is £88, guys. Full army, ready to play. You can dip your toe into Old World with this, and then if you like it, you can keep going. If you think this is good enough for me, you can stay as it is. And if you think, you know what, this isn't for me, you can sell it. Because guess what? Warriors of Chaos are one of, if not the most popular factions in Warhammer the Old World. I have not been to a tournament where out of like 20, 30 people, a good 10 or 20% of them haven't been Warriors of Chaos. There's always a Warriors of Chaos player or 3 in every Old World gaming group. Fantastically popular, and there's always going to be a market for these models, because guess what? You can sell these into AOS as well. Like I said, those chariots, those are AOS chariots. Warriors of Chaos, those Chaos Knights, they're going to have a home in an AOS Slaves to Darkness army as well. So this is literally zero risk. I know it sounds like I'm giving you the hard sell, but I'm not. I promise you, this is just making you aware. This box set is literally zero risk. It's a great deal, and it's a great excuse to try out Old World, which in my opinion is the best game that Games Workshop has released in a long time. And I know this is a little bit off topic, but it just reminded me of something else, guys. And I do wonder if Games Workshop does keep an eye on not necessarily their competitors, but other people, other companies that are in the miniature wargaming space. Because this reminds me of a Warlord Games bolt action starter army. Warlord Games is exactly the same thing. They sell starter armies to allow you to get a full army in one go. It's not the most efficient army, it's not the best army, but it absolutely is a full army that you can, for about £100, dip your toe into bolt action to see if you like it. And they're always pretty good deals. This really feels like that, and I can't help but wonder if someone at Games Workshop has seen the success of the bolt action starter sets and gone, let's see if we can emulate that ourselves. Let's see if we can try something similar with this Warriors of Chaos box set. But of course, all of this is just like my opinion, man. Let me know what you think down in the comment section below. Has this box set finally convinced you to take the plunge and get into the Old World? Or are you still not sure if it's the game for you? If you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to smash that like button. It really does boost the channel and boost the video with the YouTube algorithm. And also subscribe to never miss an episode. Would you like to know more? If so, then please consider becoming a channel member or patron. By supporting the channel, not only will you be doing your part, but you'll also be helping me create more content for your viewing pleasure and unlocking a whole host of perks. You get everything from a badge next to your name, custom emojis, but the big one is access to the Mordian Glory Discord server, an online community with almost 2,500 active members. It's always popping off in the MG Discord. We've got channels for army lists, hobbying, tactics, stories, and even a pretty spicy meme section as well. For all you greenhorns that wanted to see the Mordian glory hole, today is your lucky day. And joking aside, I do want to say a massive thank you to all of the current channel members and patrons. You guys are amazing, truly the lifeblood of the channel. I could not do Mordian Glory full-time without the incredible and generous support of my members, so thank you guys so much. And last but certainly not least, I want to say a personal thank you to all of my top tier Patreons. These are the War Masters, the people who have truly gone above and beyond the call of duty. So a heartfelt thank you to Alex Dengal, Bon Vert, Lord Pryor, Mark Panconi, RJ Scorpion, Swordfish Trombone, Try Again Bragg, John Stubbs, Nick Walsh, Diesel Fox, and August Barney. Seriously guys, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Your support is incredible and it makes a huge difference. Thank you so much. That's all for now. Hope you've all enjoyed today's video, and of course, as always, See you guys next time.